On this week's episode of What's Up Weekly, find out how an IU senior prepares for her second Little 500.
And we speak with a poet from the IDS Black Voices. What's Up Weekly starts now.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's Up Weekly. I'm Noelle Friel.
And I'm Anna Black.
For the first time in its 7-decade history, IU's Little 500 bike race was canceled in 2020. But in 2021, it's back on.
After joining the team her sophomore year, now senior Anna Young has only raced in one official IU Little 500.
I think having one true Little 5 is a blessing. I mean, it's definitely not the ideal experience as you have as a Little 500 rider. Like coming up to be a senior, you wish that you had all 3 years full force. You have your fans in the stands because we have an amazing support system with Kappa Alpha Theta. They fill up the stands.
The race being postponed from April to May means teams get an extra month to prepare. Practice has remained just as vigorous as it has been in years past, however.
Our team trains 6 days a week. So this is throughout the fall. We're doing 1 to 2 hour rides on weekdays, then 3 to 4 hour rides on the weekends. And then as soon as the track opens in the spring, we're spending most of our time there.
This year, Anna, her teammates, and her opponents will be cheered on from miles away virtually. The track that usually houses 25,000 cheering IU fans on Little 500 Day will be left empty in the 2021 race, with no friends and no family allowed to attend.
Without the normal energy surrounding the race this year, the Theta bike team has kept their spirits up, treating the race the same as they would any normal year and keeping the same goals for themselves.
We've worked so hard, even in the most difficult year, to have a program like ours. So why not keep the pedal to the metal and really go for it for the extra month that we have. So like you kind of have to look at it in the perspective that we get an extra month to train and get an extra month to perfect our craft, as we like to call it.
The highly anticipated 70th running of the classic IU tradition is set to take place on May 26th.
The 2021 Little 500 race can be streamed right from your living room at home on May 26th. Catch the women's race at noon, followed by the men's race at 4 p.m.
You may have seen colorful shirts hanging outside the Student Health Center. What you may not know is the powerful message behind each shirt. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. IU has participated in the Clothesline project every April for the past 5 years to show support. Each shirt represents a survivor's experience. The Student Health Center bought shirts for survivors and supporters to decorate for the display. Survivors have helped set up and take down the clothesline since 2016. The Clothesline Project's initiative is to shed light on the frequency of sexual violence and assault, to show survivors they aren't alone, and to better educate those on campus. Sexual violence is very common across college campuses. However, many victims never speak up or report it because of the current rape culture and stigma. According to RAIN.org, only 20% of female student victims between 18 and 24 report to law enforcement. The Clothesline Project is fighting to make campuses a safer environment and encouraging the community to help. If you need support, the Health Center has a sexual assault crisis service. You can also call the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 800-656-4673. The hotline is available 24/7 and is confidential.
Another project on campus is the IDS Black Voices section. Their goal is to bring representation and lift up the voices of Black students on campus. Poet and illustrator Donya Collins from IDS Black Voices joins us now in the studio. Later, she'll be performing her poem, Letter to George Floyd. But before that, let's get to know the voice behind the poem. Donya, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What year are you and what is your major?
Okay, so I'm a junior and I'm a studio art major, and I have a focus in concept art and visual development.
And what kind of inspired you to get into poetry?
So for both poetry and art, I just wanted to use my art in a social justice kind of way. because before I was going to go into art, I was going to be a prosecutor, but I couldn't, because before I was a prosecutor, I was going to be a defense attorney, but I couldn't like defend anyone who wasn't like truly like not guilty. And it just really limited what I could do in that field. And I've always been very active and vocal about social justice issues and like the problems in our society and communities. So I wanted to like spread that with my art and my poetry, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and so today you're going to be reading your letter to George Floyd. And what is your message behind that poem?
I wanted to just talk about the like emotions around Floyd, because it feels like, especially during his trial, that he was lost and like his murder was more put in the forefront. Like even they call it like the Derek Chauvin trial, but at the end of the day, like it was Floyd's life that was lost. Like so many people, I feel like under the politics and the, you know, the drama and all of that, at the end of the day, someone's dead. And like so many people kind of just put him as a number and detached from who he was. And it's like, well, they made mistakes, you know, we all make them all the time, and whether they're big or small, no one deserves to die on either side. And it's emotionally really heavy, especially for the Black community, to see it all the time. And sometimes it takes like something like poetry to convey that like this isn't coming from an attack like place or a place where we're trying to like harm or be defensive, but like I just need you to understand that like on our side, we're like watching our family die on like national television. And if I feel this bad and I've never met him, you know, I couldn't imagine what he feels like wherever he is, where his family feels like, and just the overall emotions tied to everything since then.
And these letters and poetry that you're writing are so emotional and powerful, like you said. So how long does it take you to write them?
Actually, doesn't take that long. Of course, me and my editors, Jacqueline and Nick, who are amazing, we tweak it and make sure that it's like appropriately formatted. But it really doesn't take me that long because I always want to be earnest in my poetry and like authentic. I don't make it for like production or anything. I make it so that it's like you seeing pieces of who I am and my emotions in their like 100% unbiased emotions. And so it kind of just pours out of me. This is like my way of telling my truth, because sometimes in other like places, you know, there's hesitance, there's sometimes defensiveness, sometimes people feel like it's an attack and it's like it's not. It's just on the other side, I need you to be able to see my perspective in poetry and art overall, do that in a way that words sometimes just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you know, using social justice in your poetry. Do you view poetry as kind of an outlet to raise awareness about political and social issues?
Definitely. I definitely feel like art overall can go where people can't go sometimes and bring people to at least a listening sort of perspective. Just because sometimes, you know, words, they'll be like, oh, well, they were biased. Or actions can be twisted, but at the end of the day, words and art and like pictures having 1,000 words, they can bridge that gap and they can capture like a moment in time, an emotion in that just pure, authentic way that only art can. And it can really have people understand you when they don't want to, because they can feel what you felt when you were writing it, when you were painting it, whatever. And so that's why I definitely talk about all kinds of social justice issues in my illustrations, because that way not only am I hopefully helping that group, but also you can see that it's coming from a place not of like hatred or like condemning anyone, but just a place of bridging the gap and hopefully eventually bringing peace.
That's great. Well, for students that are interested in joining, how can they get involved?
There's plenty of like clubs on campus, organizations, but I would definitely say it comes down to action and being 100% all the time, even in like situations where it's uncomfortable, even when you were the only one speaking up, because those little moments are what really makes up to the bigger ones. So in classrooms where, you know, they're like, oh, there's no minorities, we can get away with saying some stuff. That's the time when you need to like bring awareness to those issues. There's always clubs and just being an ally to whatever community. There's like reaching out to those organizations, and sometimes you can just like share it. Those matter because the more people who see it, the more people who can help. And really just honestly, the best thing you can do is be kind to one another, even when you don't disagree or agree. You know, you can just be like, I respectfully disagree, and keep it pushing. That's like the best thing to do. And the thing that people forget the most is even if we don't agree, we can still be kind to one another.
Exactly. Yeah. Where can people see more of your work?
I'm actually on Instagram. I'm Art by Ye, just like art by, and then Ye is in the emotion. And I'm actually on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much all of it.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Yes, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure getting to meet you.
Yes. And coming up after the break, we are going to hear a live performance from Donya Collins, and afterwards we will have a look at this week's trending topics. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We just spoke with Donya Collins, and now we're ready to hear her perform her poem live.
So without further ado, here's Donya Collins performing her poem, Letter to George Floyd.
Dear George, I'm sorry. It seems to be the only thing I can say to you, to the idea of you. I'm sorry almost a year has passed and justice hasn't moved swiftly in what should be an open and shut case. I'm sorry your murder is what people used to justify. I'm sorry. I messed up, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yep, ready. Stand by. 5, 4, 3.
Dear George, I'm sorry. It seems to be the only thing I can say to you, to the idea of you. I'm sorry almost a year has passed and justice hasn't moved swiftly in what should be an open and shut case. I'm sorry your skin is what people used to justify your murder. That sick, disgusting people deem your life worthless. Those same depraved people made jokes about your death, kneeling on each other's necks as if your passing was anything to giggle about. I'm sorry your death wasn't enough to stop the bodies from dropping. I'm sorry they used your past as an excuse, saying your past mistakes were worth your life. Willing to, because of your skin tone, dismiss the fact that cops should be cops, not judges, juries, and executioners. I'm sorry for the nightmare in which your death happened. No one deserves to die. The very thing we teach our children to be afraid of is what happened to you. The audacity that they were afraid of you, but who murdered whom? Whose blood is on whose hands? See, George, in your face, I see everyone I know. I see my family, the family who I lost the same way your family lost you. I see my brothers, uncles, and cousins, friends, and distant relatives. In you and in your murder, I see everyone I love. Because I know the odds are that everyone who looks like us is just as likely to get murdered as you were. All it takes is one wrong encounter, guilty or not. One wrong place, wrong time, and it's over. But I do want you to know one thing. You weren't forgotten or added to the list of the fallen and dismissed. Your death was felt worldwide. We didn't just stand by. We protested for months, and when instigated, we rioted. I can't even be upset at that. I'm willing to lose a couple buildings if it means bodies stop dropping, if that's what it takes. I'm sorry some people deemed your memory, your murder, not worth destroying some buildings over if necessary. As if you weren't worth way more. But we won't forget you. We won't forget you or the names on that ever-growing list of hashtags. They fuel our movement in blood. But at the end of the day, and the stark and silent hours of the night, all I feel in my heart to tell you is this. I'm sorry.
That was amazing. We want to give a big thanks to Donya Collins for sharing that with us. Without further ado, let's jump right into trending topics. The Oscars took place this past Sunday, and yes, there were records broken, upsets, and other buzzworthy moments that went down.
A record-breaking 17 trophies were handed out to women. Emerald Fennell won Best Original Screenplay for Promising Young Women. Fennell is the first woman in 13 years to take home a trophy for the original screenplay. Ya Jung-yoon became the first Korean actress to win an Oscar. She was named Best Supporting Actress for her role in Minari. But the wins for women did not stop there. Chloe Zhao became the first woman of color to be named Best Director for Nomadland. Zhao is only the second woman to ever be named Best Director in the Academy Awards show history. Speaking of Academy history, the Oscar for Best Actor in his role for The Father couldn't make it. At 83, Anthony Hopkins is the oldest acting winner in all of the award show's record.
The movie Nomadland dominated, winning 3 major Oscars. Other films also had big wins, including Judas and the Black Messiah, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Soul, The Father, and The Sound of Metal. Each of these movies won 2 Oscars.
But aside from all the record-breaking wins at this year's Oscars, we also have to talk about the Oscars fashion. One Oscar winner incorporated activism into his outfit at the award show.
Travon Free and Martin Desmond Rowe won an Oscar for their live-action short, Two Distant Strangers, which deals with a tragically relevant topic, police brutality. The message of the film was echoed in Free's emotional speech, as well as his bespoke black and yellow Dolce & Gabbana suit, which was lined with the names of victims of police brutality, including Dante Wright, Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, and Eric Garner.
Upon accepting his award, Free told the crowd, quote, "On average, the police in America every day kill 3 people, which amounts to about 1,000 people a year. Those people happen to be disproportionately black people. Please don't be indifferent to our pain."
The Academy Awards aren't the only ones in the entertainment world to have some shocking surprises.
The famous late-night comedy show SNL has recently found itself in the spotlight. The show announced that business mogul Elon Musk will host next month. Miley Cyrus will be the musical guest performing on Musk's episode. SNL is known to have entertainers on the show, but not businessmen. That's why the show found itself surrounded by controversy lately. Musk is one of the wealthiest people in the world, notable for SpaceX and Tesla. Recently, he hasn't been engaging with the media. Musk has had a few entertainment roles. He has appeared in South Park, The Simpsons, and Iron Man 2.
As for stand-up comedy, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see during his SNL appearance.
Finally, a new trailer is out for Steven Spielberg's adaptation of West Side Story, starring Ansel Elgort and Rachel Zegler.
It aired during the Academy Awards Sunday. The movie will have a theatrical premiere on December 10th. That premiere was pushed back a year due to the pandemic. The trailer pays homage to the iconic opening sequence from the 1961 adaptation of the Broadway musical, which is based on the Romeo and Juliet story. And before we go, we wanted to introduce you to one more special guest.
Since this is my last episode of What's Up Weekly, IUS TV News reporter Callie Lichter will be taking my place in August. Welcome to Woo, Callie.
Come on. Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Callie Lichter. I'm a freshman here at IU, and I'm a broadcast journalism major.
Yes, and Callie will be taking my spot on What's Up Weekly in the fall. And that's what's up this week. Tune in next week for more local and entertainment news. Be sure to follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IUS TV News. For What's Up Weekly, I'm Noelle Friel.
And I'm Anna Black. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the fall.